Hi. Once a week, on the weekend, I look at two lists of stocks. The first are the disasters, the stocks that plunged, tanked, got destroyed, disgraced themselves, and are now almost a byword for corporate ineptitude. This list makes for sad but fun reading because each disaster has a story behind it. A corporate drama, a mistake, idiocy, or at the extreme, maybe a crime. Or how about all of the above, maybe? Now, why am I interested? Because the combination of those factors often drives the stock to such a low level that it may present an opportunity for buying? No, for sleuthing. Never buy what you haven't sleuthed yet. Now, wait, I said two lists. The first is a list of stock disasters. What's the second list? That's a quick scan of insiders buying among these stock disasters. My thinking goes this way. Is any of the stocks so cheap that insiders have been shelling their after-tax money to buy it? And if so, who has been buying? Top of the company or just low-level managers who must report? And if the top guys and girls have been buying, just how much have they? Only then, if I both find the stock disasters, but the most informed insiders have been buying a lot, do I go to the sleuthing part? Okay, I hear you saying. Which stocks are you leading to? The stock is Moderna, or mRNA symbol. The stock soared on the wings of its vaccine against COVID all the way to $350 at the top. Then, as it was revealed that maybe its vaccine didn't cure COVID and maybe even have been causing problems, allegedly turbo cancer, allegedly, it tanked from 350 at the top to 25 at the bottom and is now costing at 40. Why did it tank so much? It, of course, was not the only biotech that did. I am sure you heard the story of the vaccines made by Moderna, Pfizer, and others that allegedly were not even vaccines and were not even properly tested, allegedly. Now, I'm saying so much allegedly because up to a few months ago, all the above was considered conspiracy theory. Only now, Bobby Kennedy, head of the US health authorities, said it's not conspiracy. That is, Moderna allegedly guilty of conspiracy, crime, and idiocy combined. Maybe, because of course, it was perhaps all just misfortune. Or was it? However, in the context of its stock, this is not what is interesting to me here. Yes, Moderna may have been bad boys, or may not, and you may be justified in seeing them get a comeuppance if they are found guilty. But as they say, often making money is the best revenge. So in that context, what's interesting to me is that both the CEO and one more director of Moderna thought the stock cheap enough to go and buy it at $31 a share late last year. The CEO bought more than $5 million worth, and the director $1 million, both of which are now worth more because, as I said, the stock is now 40. Is it still cheap enough to buy? Let's see. First, these two insiders have not been selling, not a single share. But second, let's run a quick test of the regular valuation parameters. How do they stack up on cheapness? Well, the price-earning ratio, the PE, is 7 times. Dead cheap. Price to book value is 1.7, ditto. EV to EBITDA is 4.6 times. That's the valuation of a construction company, not biotech. All the valuations are so cheap, it's almost unheard of. But what's behind the cheapness? What about future earnings? Here I'd give Moderna my R&D test, research and development. How much did it spend on R&D over the last 3 years? R&D, as I'm sure you know, are the engine of future earnings. If you have seen my past clips, you'd know that. The total R&D of the last 3 years of Moderna was 12.8 billions. That's billion with a B. And what are we paying for in this store of patents and IP? The EV, or market cap, plus debt less cash is $11.7 billion, or less than the total R&D spent. This is extremely rare for such a large R&D-based company. The last one, where EV to R&D ratio was in low single digit, was Meta, when the stock was 95, when I pointed out to you as sleuthing fodder. Meta is now 630, or almost 7 times its then price. How is that? But what is Moderna's R&D spent on, you may say? Only on vaccines? No. The COVID vaccines were only a small part of what Moderna does. Look it up. Now, how about cash? Does it have enough cash to justify spendings on R&D and regular expenses? Does it ever? Market cap is $15.5 billion, whereas EV is $12.8 billion. There is more than $4.5 billion of pure cash on the books. In other words, the stock is dead cheap on all valuation methods. Its current market cap less cash is less than 3 years spending on R&D. All the accounting valuations are cheap, and on top, management has been buying stocks in the millions hand over fist. So it can be a great candidate for sleuthing. Did I do mine? Yes, I have, but I won't tell you what I came up with. You do your own sleuthing. What's the upside of the stock, you may ask? Well, the stock is now at 40. The previous peak, where it stopped for a while temporarily on its crash down, was 124, or 3 times its current price. The peak before that was at about 170 when the stock paused for a bit, or 4 times its current price. And before that, of course, the all-time high was 350, or 8 times current price. So if the stock can nearly go back to where it has been before, it could go up 3 times or 4 times from here, with even more in the future, perhaps as a faraway bonus. Nice? Sure is. Now, before I end, I should mention that you can also buy call options on the money and in the money, and maybe have a higher upside than that. But in options, of course, you can lose all your money, so I won't be specific here. Please note that the above, both the stocks and the mention of options, are of course not recommendations, just an exercise in sleuthing, which is a physical investigation of the company behind the stock. But sleuth it how? You got it. Read my books, The Sleuth Investor, The Advanced Sleuth Investor, and see for yourself. The method is all there. That's all for now. Please let me know what you think of the above clip, and if you like it, give it a like and tell all your friends and subscribers, if you have them, so they'll recommend it too. And then buy my books, The Sleuth Investor, The Advanced Sleuth Investor, and if you like them too, which I hope you do, please give them reviews on Amazon, which I hope will be good ones. I'll see you next time, and meantime, thank you very much for watching.